All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 19th, 2025. It's season 4, episode 231. I am MayorWatt and I run ohmTown, usually better than I do our production. Today we're going to be talking about Air Canada says, sorry, we pay more. Grimm Classics, Hollow Knight Silksong shows up at Gamescom. Kryptos solution is up for sale. Spelling bee names can be brands. A game within a game turducken. Wyoming launches a state stablecoin called, well, I'm calling it TinyGDP. Ticket reseller sued swiftly, and stop bringing drones to a concert. And finally, Webb spots something orbiting Uranus, or yeah, something like that. Let's get into it. Today's an odd day. No preamble, let's just go. This first article is over in Hatch Ideas. Air Canada to resume flights after a pay deal was struck with a union. And I said, I'm recording this for a second time. People want to work. They just don't want to work for something that keeps them from being an ongoing concern. They're not making as much profit. They are not making profit. They're working hourly or whatever their salary is, and they still can't make ends meet because everything is getting more expensive because there are profit takers that aren't adding any value. They're just sapping wealth from the enterprise. Nadine Youssef over at bbc.com put the article together. The breakthrough came early on Tuesday, 9 hours after talks began with the help of an approved mediator appointed by the government. Unpaid work is over, said the Canadian Union of Public Employees, the COUP. In a statement calling the negotiations an historic fight for the industry, the union also advised its members to fully cooperate with resumption of operations. The dispute between Air Canada and the union had escalated when COUP rejected an order to return to work issued by the Canadian Industrial Relations Board, which deemed the strike unlawful in a ruling on Monday. Shouldn't care if you rule it as unlawful. It's whatever is going on that made the union feel like they're being abused. That's good enough for me. That people don't want to strike. They want to strike when they're abused, and the system doesn't want to exert any downward pressure on them. I guess everybody could have quit, 10,000 people. So the airline added that it would not comment on the terms of the agreed deal until it had been ratified. Let's see. COUP said that Air Canada's initial contract offer was below inflation, below market value, below minimum wage, and would still leave flight attendants unpaid for some hours of work, including boarding and waiting at airports ahead of flights. That's my problem too. I don't get paid to be on the road, so let me telework so I can live my life for upwards of 4 hours. I remember having 2-hour commutes. Yeah, kiss my shiny metal butt. Let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile channel. Grimm Classics may counter negative effects of internet browsing. Reading a Grimm fairy tale like Hansel and Gretel or Little Red Riding Hood might mitigate the negative effects of browsing the internet by creating resilience and brightening one's outlook on life, according to a new study published by JMIR Formative Research. The article is over at phys.org. It's written by JMIR Publications, but edited and reviewed by Gabby Clark and Robert Egan, respectively. So in the study titled Mitigating the Negative Effects of Internet Browsing on Young People's Resilience and Outlook on Life Through Classic Grimm Fairy Tales, Exploratory Randomized Controlled Study, researchers examined how internet browsing affects resilience and optimism in postgraduate students. They further explored whether classic fairy tales can act as a protective buffer against any harmful effects. Well, I mean, the fairy tales were supposed to be tools to kind of control people. It was supposed to be, there's always a message, socioeconomic, ethical, moral type of control, and a check, a reminder, don't do this, don't do that, don't stay out after dark, that kind of thing. So they say in today's world, most people spend a lot of time online, and while the internet may offer benefits, its impact on mental well-being and emotional resilience isn't fully understood. This research suggests that the simple act of reading a classic fairy tale could be an accessible tool to counterbalance the draining effects of online browsing. All right, those who read a Grimm fairy tale after browsing the internet reported significantly higher resilience and more positive outlook on life compared to those who didn't read a Grimm fairy tale. Grimm is the collator of verbal stories that were told from person to person in various communities or around Bavaria, I think it is. At the time, southern Germany. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I don't know if it is just a true Grimm fairy tale or if it's some bastardization of the true Grimm fairy tales. There were a bunch that were discovered recently, not recently, about 10 years ago. I still don't think that they're out and about. Let's keep going. The next article is over on WarCrafters. Hollow Knight Silksong shows up at Gamescom opening night live with almost 30 seconds of new gameplay. Oh my gosh, 30 seconds. Jeez. All right. Well, anyway, the author says, if I sound a little over it, it's because I, like many of you, put on my clown makeup yesterday and at the behest of ONL host Jeff Keighley when he teased at something Silksong related at the show today. Well, it was 30 seconds. It says, that's on the ongoing saga of are we getting a Silksong release date this week? The answer is still maybe, but it's not happening at Gamescom opening night. But you did get to see 30 seconds of brand new gameplay. Drip, drip, drip. Rebecca Valentine over at IGN.com put this article together. Yeah, I don't know. There, you can watch the link over there at IGN, but I'm not going to go into it because it's basically kicking the can down the road. As hype can be. It says today, hours before the show, developer Teen Cherry teased a special announcement for Silksong. It's on its way still. Anyway, the footage is kind of cool, a bit thin on the actually revealing meaty new information. Go and check it out over at IGN. The next article is over in ohmTown. Nobody has been able to solve the CIA's famous Kryptos sculpture. Soon, the solution will be sold to the highest bidder because information is only given to rich people. I'm going to jump straight on over to the source because it's SmithsonianMag.com. Sonia Anderson put the article together. In November, the solution could fetch up to $500,000 at an auction. I wonder if it'll all be given to a good cause. The unbroken code has destroyed marriages, brought unwanted guests to Sanborn's door, and even provoked threats on his life, he tells the Washington Post's Kelsey Abels. I could keel over at any moment. I'd rest easier if I knew things were in control somehow, it says. It's his 80th birthday, so Sanborn plans to auction the Kryptos complete solution. If you've never seen it, go and check it out. Just do a search for Kryptos. The three coded messages shared themes of secrecy and discovery, reported the New York Times' John Schwartz and Jonathan Coram in 2020. The first message reads, between subtle shading and absence of light lies the nuance of inclusion with illusion, maybe purposely misspelled, inclusion and illusion. Is illusion actually supposed to be misspelled? Because occlusion. Maybe there's something there. I think I might have solved it. Oh my God. No, I haven't. The second says, does Langley know about this? They should. It's buried out there somewhere. X knows where the X who knows the exact location, only WW. The initials refer to William Webster, the head of the CIA at the time. The third message, which also features deliberate spelling errors, is an adapted passage from Egyptologist Howard Carter's account of discovering King Tut's tomb. Slowly, desperately, slowly, the remains of passage debris that encumbered the lower part of the doorway was removed, it begins. With trembling hands, I made a tiny breach in the upper left corner. In 2010, 1420, Sanborn offered clues to sleuths trying to solve K4. Still, the message has remained unsolved. He tells the Washington Post, there can be an addiction in some people. At home in Chesapeake Bay, Sanborn fields so many messages containing guesses that he now requires a $50 submission fee. Some see it as a battle of wits, some test their software, some as a hobby that keeps them engaged in cryptology after their active career and the bleeding edge has come to an end. Watch this thing be like, I like round table pizza. Yeah, you're old if you know about round table pizza. I'm going to move on. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Misspelled names may give brands a lift. LYFT. Ha 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 ha. If the spelling isn't too weird, I refer to these as spelling bee names. I really don't like them for any company that I spin up, and I really don't like offering them up as something for clients. Consumers don't mind when companies use misspelled words. They think Lyft for Lyft or Fruit Loops for Fruit Loops as their brand names, as long as the alterations aren't too extreme and the misspelling makes sense. The article is over at phys.org. Annika Abel over at The Conversation put the article together. It's published, it's edited and reviewed by Gabby Clark and Andrew Zinnan. So yeah, misspelled brands like Kool-Aid, Ready Whip, Crumble, Seem Everywhere. They name these things so that there's a trademarkable term, because if you just say like Kool-Aid, it's too generic. It's like sci-fi. It used to be sci-fi and now it's sci-fi. Despite their popularity, we know little about consumers respond to different types of misspelled names, except that if anybody has ever grown up, over the last 40 years, you know that most people don't like having to figure out what the hell they mean. You have to do more education. You have to do more marketing. You have to onboard people to the proper spelling. Despite their popularity, we know little about how consumers respond. In a series of 6 experiments, they tested consumer reactions to fictional and several real brand names with varying levels and types of misspellings. Mild misspelling, such as combining 2 real words like soft soap, were perceived just positively as correctly spelled names. When consumers saw different levels of misspellings, considering Easy Clean with a Z, Easy Clean with a K and a Z, Easy Clean without any A's, they reacted more negatively the further the name deviated from the correct spelling, Easy Clean. Yeah, I can see that. We'll close that. So while the research uncovers how consumers react to different types of misspellings, it leaves open an important question about how long-term effects are. The example, do customers or consumers still notice the misspelling of a 60-year-old name like Quick Trip, a convenience store chain in the Midwest? I don't know. More research. Get that grant, baby. The next article is over in WarCrafters. For the first time ever, a new game in one of China's most popular video game series will be released simultaneously in the West. Gamescom opening night live showcase Swords of Legends is a brand new single-player action RPG based on Chinese mythology, and if the title rings a bell, you're very likely to be thinking of Swords of Legends Online, the Chinese MMO that came our way in 2021. But this is a completely separate and different thing. Haha! You thought you were on the ball. Nope. Andy Chalk over at PCGamer.com put the article together. Sword of Legends Online. Yeah, so not only are they entirely unconnected, though, the similarity in the titles is the obvious giveaway, but both games are developed by the same studio, Oregon, and are part of a sprawling Gujian franchise, which debuted in China in 2010, but rather than the open world of its namesake MMO, Sword and Legends is a wide linear game that allows for focused storytelling and exploration while still offering players meaningful choices as the narrative progresses. I don't like games on rails. I like open world. I really wish ArcAge wouldn't have wet the bed 3 freaking times, I think it was. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. Wyoming launches the first state-issued stablecoin. I'm calling it TinyGDP. Wyoming's Frontier Stablecoin, Wyoming's Frontier Stable Token promises faster and cheaper digital transactions. It's all bunk. Bruce Gill over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The only ones that are really going to benefit. Ooh, I just punched my mic. Oh wait, I am a consciousness embedded on a quantum computer, so I couldn't punch my mic. Bruce Gill over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. For years, Wyoming has been the leading state on blockchain, cryptocurrency, and digital asset regulation, passing over 45 pieces of regulation since 2016. Governor Mark Gordon said in a press release today, Wyoming reaffirms its commitment to financial innovation and consumer protection. Still don't understand the point of this. Still, the token will be fully backed by US dollars and short duration treasuries held in trust for token holders, which basically means when this thing gets ripped off, taxpayers are going to be on the line for it. Wyoming law also requires FRNT to maintain 2% over collateralization to strengthen its stability. Interest generated by the reserves will be sent to Wyoming's School Foundation Fund. The commission is working with Layer 0 to issue FRNT, which will be available across multiple blockchains, including Arbitrum, Avalanche, Base, Ethereum, Optimism, Polygon, Solana. The token will be available initially in the coming days on Solana via Wyoming domiciled digital asset exchange Kraken and through Rain's Visa integrated card platform on Avalanche. Through Rain's stablecoin infrastructure, it doesn't matter. It'll get breached and a bunch of money will be exfiltrated. Nobody will get it back, but taxpayers will probably end up footing the bill. Watch. You'll see. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Ticket reseller sued for illegally buying over 2,000 Taylor Swift tickets. The FTC is suing a ticket broker for allegedly using illegal means to buy up hundreds of thousands of live event tickets, including for Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Key Investment Group, which also does business as Epic Seats, TotalTickets.com, and TotallyTix, is accused of violating the Better Online Ticket Sales Act, or BOTS. They had to work real hard to get that acronym out, by using virtual and traditional credit card numbers, along with spoofed IP addresses, fake accounts it paid real people to make, and banks of SIM cards used to receive verification texts. The numbers that were used for the illegal buying sprees. Emma Roth over at TheVerge.com put the article together. The deck statement says, the FTC lawsuit claims the reseller used fake accounts and banks of SIM cards to snag over 379,000 tickets from Ticketmaster in just over a year. I'm going to move on. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Limp Bizkit frontman Fred Durst smashes down a drone with his microphone mid-performance. I actually watched this. It's pretty interesting. Fred Durst threatened to break your effing face tonight in Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff. He also was talking about robots, it turns out. The new metal frontman recently made good on the promise. When a drone flew too close, he actually told the drone to come forward, kind of coaxed it forward, and then smashed it out of the air. Over the weekend, Limp Bizkit was performing for an excited crowd at the Ataköy Marina in Istanbul, Turkey, announced that it's probably going to be the last time they're going to be allowed to do that, and then smashed a drone. Stephen Andrew Gallagher over at Vice.com put the article together. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you can go and check out the article over at Vice.com. There's more in here. It says, while on tour with Metallica in May, the reigning gods of nu metal teased that they're working on new music by taking it to Instagram to share an image of themselves in a studio in Nashville, Tennessee. And then they talk about the 2025 Gringo Pappy South America tour. It says, while there's no way of knowing if new Limp Bizkit music is forthcoming, we can confirm that fans in South America have the opportunity to see the band. So go check it out. And finally, our last article for the 19th. Yes, I know, it's a Time Machine episode. It's over in Technology Today. That's one of our weekend shows. The James Webb Space Telescope continues to bear fruit. Images captured by the floating watchtower revealed a previously unknown moon orbiting Uranus. The discovery made on February 2nd increases the planet's moon tally to 29. The moon was easy to miss. It's only estimated to be 6 miles apart. It's located 35,000 miles from Uranus, orbiting the plane's equatorial plane. The moon has a nearly circular orbit, suggesting it could have formed near its current location. So pretty neat. I love this kind of stuff. The article is over at Engadget. Will Shanklin put the article together. It's only 6 miles wide, but Webb spotted it. Basically, it's a series of pictures that show that this orbit exists. I think it's probably a moonlet, not really a moon, but we'll see what it gets classified as time goes on. The new moon joins 13 other smaller moons in Uranus's orbit. The planet also has 5 major moons: Miranda, Ariel, Umbral, Titania, and Oberon, and 10 irregular ones. You're an irregular moon. So we're going to orbit our way back to the front page of ohmTown for August 19th, 2025. And we're going to get out of here. We're going to reset, and we're going to end up doing the weekend shows. So we're not stopping. We're just stopping the recording. And then we're going to go back to the 2 weeks in review, 160 articles, all covering a wide variety of news topics. Okay, so on the weekend, there are 6 shows, and there's going to be 2 weekends. So you basically have 12 weekend shows, all with a total combined 160 plus articles, depending on how many extras are in there, because we do 10 during the week as well. 10 articles during the week, each day, Monday through Friday. So anyway, go and check it out. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.